Hello, and welcome back to Hoi 4, Equestria War, the Yale Rhetoric, under Rector Magnificus Mickelson. And in today's episode, we're just continuing down our economic tree, for the moment. Modernize the curriculum. The speed at which science advances is growing ever faster, leaving griffins in more unfortunate countries behind. However, the universities must keep a steady flow of students coming from the younger generations to give them the highest chance of success. We must update the curriculum so that our pupils aren't taught outdated theories. Woo! Let's do it! Update! Woo! Whoop. On science. Rector Magnificus Mickelson was lecturing at Yale University. It was late in the afternoon, and the lecture was almost over. So there are two kinds of validity which can be used to measure the worth of any piece of research: internal and external validity. The better you can rule out alternative explanations for your finding, the higher your internal validity, while a higher external validity means you are generalize your findings. There are an audible sigh from one of the students. Only a couple were still taking notes. They were tired, after all. A brain could only take in information for so long during a day, and these young griffins had been in lecture halls since the early morning. Mikazuan tapped his desk with a claw. Alright, let us do something different, then. The end of the professor's explanation got some drowsy heads raised. The rector sat down on the top of his desk, giving the students a smile. What is the most important trait a scientist should possess? There are no wrong answers here. A griffin hesitantly raised her claws, and Mikazian pointed at her. A scientist should be unbiased, looking at every problem without prejudice. Oh yes, it is very important that you try to limit the influence of our own opinions and the objective. But we are not gods. Every scientist is influenced by their own perspective. Acknowledge this and be open about what drives you, not just in science, but in life in general. A few more claws were raised now. It seemed that Mekazian managed to connect with the students. They have to be humble and take criticism. Another student proclaimed, smug about his answer. Of course, Mikazian replied. You must be able to admit your mistakes, but you must also know when to stick to your theory, even if no other scientist supports it. Some of the greatest scientists were laughed at when they first proposed their groundbreaking visions, and now they're in your textbook. One more. A scientist must be apolitical and not like those Reds in Crucible. The hall erupted into laughter, which faded away when Mikazian raised a claw. This comes back to what I said earlier. Seeing the world from just one perspective and attributing the root cause of all evil to one phenomenon might be reductionist, but science is not apolitical. It cannot be, as it is involved with the most important advancements in how society functions. How will you use your knowledge and intellect might determine the well-being of millions. Be mindful of your responsibility and have a great evening. The rector raised his claws again, indicating the class was dismissed. They still have much to learn. Nice. We're teaching. Alright, let's go. Who needs ponies, right? Well, that's fun. You're doing, your thing, in quotation marks, Oh, I'd say things are still going well enough, you know. Let's see. Alright. Methods for a new millennium. Our industry has lagged behind academia for a while due to a lack of dedicated R&D investments made by our companies. If we are to move our industry into the second millennium, the state must intervene by investing in industrial modernization. Science will allow our factories to produce more with less. Ooh, fancy. Yeah, right now I'm not worried about you. I'm definitely getting just going up to partial mobilization as my first thing. Everything because of family. Brother! Irene Mushabnel quickly flew towards her target, hugging the small griffin from behind. Irene, you are here too. Rich Mushabel replied, less than enthusiastically. Of course, I wouldn't miss family day. Irene released the hug, straightened her suit and tie, while Indrich turned to face her. Congratulations on your promotion at university, little brother. I'm sure Dad will be proud. Irich squinted his eyes for a second before sighing, to which Irene patted the griffin on his shoulder. Lector of Crucival is no mean feat, Irich. You are one of the most important griffins in Yale. Come on, let's go. She took Irich by the claw, walking further into Mushanable Mansion. There was already much chatter coming from the salon when they entered. About 24 Mushanables greeted them. Not least of those was Theodore Mushanable, father of Idrich and Irene. He was large in stature and strutted towards his children with the air of authority only a true capitalist could have. His eyes gleamed with joy as he turned towards Irene first. Irene, my treasure, welcome home, my dear. How is the company? Irene explained in her usual enthusiasm how the family business was doing. It took a few minutes before Theodore even recognized his son. Theodore's eyes gleamed disapproval at Heinrich. Heinrich, you visit your father for once? That red den you work at is only a stone's throw away, you know? Yes, father. Heinrich didn't focus on his father's eyes anymore, softly banding his claws into a fist. In his mind, the mansion started burning. His father would be on the ground, begging him for mercy for all the times he mistreated him. Red banners would flutter from the mansions as all those who were ever exploited by the Mushanable capitalists would repay that abuse in kind, with a righteous revolution. Heinrich, are you all right? The voice of his sister, who always had gotten everything she wanted, snapped the rector of Crucival back to his reality. She looked genuinely worried, trying to grasp what was going on in her brother's mind. I'm great. Never felt better, really. Yeah. A bit unstable. Okay. Well, nice to meet you. Yeah. Maybe. Kinda not. Honestly, really not that nice to meet you, but, you know. You do you. You do you. You can just, do you. Yeah, I've noticed that they win, like, every time, and also expand every time. Like, they just do that every single time. Like, they're like, well, time to take over the world. Like, that's their goal in every campaign. Like they're not very randomized, are they? They're not really ahistorical. I think they've just decided their historical path is expand everywhere. Review the banking law. Banking is a time-honored tradition in all of the Hertzland, but the laws that govern these bankers are opaque by design. We will have our most senior professors of law draft the new banking law, one that favors our country over these transnationally operating bankers. Even I, as set, fair economists, agree that the law should guard against perverse incentives as to make the economy more resilient to shock. The new sparkle. Yale University had many amenities for its students, one of which was a small indoor theater. What was usually used for music or theater club, today it was filled with students of all sorts for a special event. The murmurs in the room stopped when a male griffin walked onto the stage and tapped the microphone. I don't know if you actually got the... That probably wasn't good. That might have hurt your... I tapped my microphone. I don't know. Ladies and gentle griffs, we are here today to discuss the future of our most beloved country. It doesn't take a genius to feel that the academic system of government is not satisfying anymore. This begs the question, how do we govern ourselves? To give you one possible answer, please welcome our own Georgini Schwuller, president of the New Sparkle Movement. There was a large applause as a griffin with very light purple feather climbs the stage and takes the microphone from the announcer. She gives the crowd a soft smile as the applause dies down. Greetings, everyone. Thank you for attending. Georgina's voice was soft, but still the crowd was silenced the moment she opened her beak. There is only one way forward from the stagnation we find ourselves in, and that is to go forward together. 40 years ago, griffins demanded influence in how they ruled, and since then, Griffonia has not been the same. Everywhere, tyrants still cling to power with an iron fist. Even here in Yale, the fire of democracy seems all but doused in the fires of so-called enlightened technocracy. The griffin's voice was now loudly echoing through the theater, her eyes glistening and every word full of passionate fire. But as long as there is a free-thinking griffin left on Boris' continent, there is still fuel for freedom's fire, and I intend, together with you, to be a new spark for democracy. Georgina's voice calmed down a little, but not with violence, but by keeping within the law. We will debate, protest, and talk to every griffin who will listen, until we can choose our own destiny. Woo! The crowd erupted in cheers, and the New Sparkle movement gained many new members that day. If only they were so passionate about their studies. Ha! Now, for them, I believe there might be a Democratic crap down the middle, but you can't just go democracy. Yeah, they can't win. Not immediately, at least. So, yeah. Woo. Whoop whoop. I'm gonna take army organization, because it gives good army experience and it's something I know I'll want, whether being defensive or offensive. It's just useful for the future. Boop boop. Ooh, anti-fascist victory. Maybe check out that. Okay, I already have that gun. Good. Hello, harmonic republicanism. Interesting. And we have the Chivalry Knightly Order as a puppet. And man, things seem to be going alright over here. How interesting. Refurbish the public schools. With most of our education budget going to universities, our public schools have been chronically underfunded. If we are to secure the flow of young talent to our universities, we must intervene. Our schools require everything: new classrooms, textbooks, and even functioning heating, so that our young ones don't have to sit in class with 2 winter coats on. Oh, that is bad. A battered rock. And that faith is a rock standing tall in the seas. Whether in the calm embrace of summer or the raging tempest of winter, it will never waver, as it is anchored to the earth. For beneath the waves there is more than meets the eye. Tristan thanked all the griffins for attending and blessed their day in the name of the gods. Marking the end of today's service, the temple-goers stood up from their benches and slowly made their way to the exodus, and the priest himself relaxed his posture, hanging his shoulders as he watched the few faithful leave his temple. The young gray-feathered priest looked up at the stained glass window above the exit, breaking down the afternoon sun into an array of playful colors. Crucible temple to the Trinity did not show any signs of the slow decay happening around its walls. The red rot of socialism had taken root, spreading its venom house by house through the streets of this once noble city. And while Crucible was the epicenter, it was not the only community straying from the Trinity. Ever since Tristan came here from the Prelstrom, he felt it in the air, and in the eyes of the griffins he met on the street. This country had no soul, or if it had one, it was clouded in shadow. As the months passed by, fewer and fewer griffins visited this temple, except for the elderly coming in out of habit more than piety. Tristan turned his eyes towards the heaven, a familiar fresco making him turn a slight smile. Yale was not yet completely lost. The priest quickly prayed a prayer to the prelate in Bruma, whose temples was filled to the brim with students and commoners both. was not a griffin of compromise. Prelate Michael, as to be expected as the archine priest, in his writings to the priesthood, the prelate often advocated for rooting out the Red Threat by banning Crucival University, Yale's current climate of misguided academic, but many others did listen devoutly. Maybe there was hope yet, the priest cringed at his own thoughts. Faith is a rock, and this long winter, it would weather too. Perhaps Michael can craft Yale a soul. I mean, I don't know about all these people and what their thoughts are, but I like that you're giving me political power. Like, all these 35 political power things are really nice. Like, keep that up, please. Please, keep that up. I'm definitely liking that political power. Any more political power you want to give me? I'd be down. I'd love some more. I'll take as much as you can give me. 100%. Alright. Yep. We're gonna take this next. We already have at least the first 2 artilleries. Good, good, good. We have a little more starting technology than other nations, which we are Yale, so it makes sense, but still, I'm glad to have that. Oops. Brace the gold standard. When the Empire ruled Griffonia, there was no doubt about the stability of its currency. Now that the ironclad faith in Griffonheim is but a footnote in history, we require a new idea. By tying our currency to gold, our money will be stable, as no Grisson would doubt the value of this most precious metal. Yeah, everyone knows that being connected to the gold standard can only be a good thing, right? Don't you all know that? Hasn't history taught you that having your money stamped to the gold standard is always great for any economy throughout all of history? Yeah, I think that's definitely true, right, guys? Right? Man, the escape button is way too close to this button. Like, I don't like that the escape button is right beside that. It makes it way too easy to click. It's just annoying. Like, it's not like it's a bad thing, like, but it's a little annoying. Let's go ahead and start getting these. A regent has been chosen. After months of squabbling, the faction of Griffonheim has finally chosen a regent. Duchess Gabriella Eagleclaw, cousin of the late Emperor, has come out on top, and now has a firm control over Griffonheim, presumably her already wealthy estate as well. The council was forced to react and pick a side, as rumored had it that Archon Eros would not let his defeat slide so easily. In Yale, all the rectors were present for an emergency gathering. As Mikazian expected, Gamia and Burma were 2 birds of a feather and demanded that Yale would secede from the empires. Eros was the legitimate regent for young Grover. Crucival demanded secession as well, naming a long list of alleged imperial crimes of the empire had committed. This left the 4 central universities, Yale, Middelheim, Greengate, and Greenback. The rectors of Middelheim and Greengate, who were not much for politics, were willing to stick with the Duchess, which was Mikazin's preferred option. Greenback, however, voted with the radicals. The university refused to be part of what they named the spending of lives in useless conflicts. This left Mikazian with no choice but to travel to Griffonheim to announce Yale's former succession from the Empire. He hoped Duchess Eagleclaw would swallow her pride and let the rectorate be, but he feared that the country had to prepare for the worst. I mean, I'm gonna just wait a little. I'll tell her in a bit. You know, it takes a little while to travel there. You know. Sometimes it takes a little bit. You know. I'm just on the way. I'm traveling. You know, nothing wrong with that. I'm almost there. Almost there. You know. Hey, look at that! I made it. New Maryland declares independence. Huh? Independence on, like, very close to the same day. Like, our Independence Days are, like, a couple days off from each other. Nice. Yeah, I'd like to get these first and then do that. No, let's go ahead and do this. With the events in Griffonisches unraveling fast, Yale can no longer sit idle. Decisive action has to be taken, but the universities disagree on which course of action to take. Rector Magnificence Mickelson will convene the council to force a decision on the future of the rectorate. There we go. Now I can get this, which I want to get next. Mickezian deliberation. Yet again, the Council of Rectors has met in Yale to discuss the growing internal and external problems. Popular dissent has become an ever more pressing issue, as the old societal attachments to the Empire faded away with the current academic government, officially offering little in the way of legitimacy to the Yale. Rector Magnificent Nixon was not a social scientist, nor was he a terribly cunning politician, but he did have a talent for logical arguments and problem-solving. He saw three valid approaches. Firstly, funds could be made available to support Gamma and Bruma, two universities which had traditionally received a lot of triarchy funding from Romau and still held strong ties to the clergy. Perhaps their religious connections could appeal to the general populace, but this could come at a price of scientific integrity, legitimacy through the design sanction. Secondly, he could try and broadly maintain the academic course of Yale, but free more funds for projects that would increase the quality of life in Yale, legitimacy through results. Thirdly, and perhaps most logically, he could give districtory funds to the University of Crucival. Socialism has recently won over many states, and according to the academics of this university, many more states would follow soon. Perhaps by empowering this university, they could reach a compromise position to help the proletariat while avoiding violence. Legitimacy through popular will. Ringing a little bell to call attention to himself, Mickezian spoke to announce his decision. We are going to go with Gamma and Brui. They must take the lead. Alright. The science of agriculture. Agricultural studies may not be the most prestigious field of science, but it is rapidly developing. Rational management theories and advances in biology and organic chemistry, along with mechanized tools, have led to increasing food production across our domains. So yeah, the plan is just to get down to that, and then I'll begin doing the stuff like that. I'm not worried about getting that. I'm not going to go further down here. I just want to get down to that research slot. So that is the plan. Okay, for now, you stop telling me about that, okay? Thank you. For now, I'm just going to promote all of you. Why not? I've got the command power. Everyone gets a promotion. Woo! I can now do these, but kind of want to. I hate when I have to do that, but I do need stuff like that right now. Whoa, no, no. What I'm doing there, don't do it. They're having their revolution. Cool, cool, cool. Agricultural studies. New tools and methods to grow food have severely reduced the griffin power needed to sustain our people. The claws that have been freed by the advance of agricultural technology can now be put to use in the factories to propel our nation forward. Yale University is the oldest and most prestigious university in the country. Much like the city in which it resides, the institute has been overshadowed by the modernity. However, its expansive libraries and tradition for excellence warrant another investment. We must commission an experienced architect to build a new wing for the old university so that Yale may soar to new heights. That would be beautiful. We should do it. Mostly because I want another research slot, but, you know. We should do it. Throw you in. And then who's good? Let me wait till these guys finish promoting so they get their stats back to see what's good. I want you just because you have infantry leader. And I like infantry leader. Infantry leader is literally my playstyle. What's this? Not infantry. I don't think there's anything that's not infantry. Isn't that everything? Is there things that aren't infantry? No. No, you've got to be lying. No. There's infantry, and there's, what else? No, I think that's it. I think that's it. There's infantry. That's the... Oh, there's support equipment. Yeah, there are support equipments. That's it, right? Infantry, support equipments, yeah, that's it. I'm pretty sure there's nothing else in this game, right? Yeah, I think that's right. Bruma and Gamia. In the west of Yale lies the two university cities of Bruma and Gamia. These universities maintain close ties with the local prelate of Arceus, and have different values than the other universities. Gamia houses brilliant biologists who dare to push beyond the boundaries of the ethical, while Bruma's social science factuates reject liberal theories in favor of a strong society. Yeah, that's what we need. Alright, let's throw on field hospitals to each of you. This will also get rid of some recruitable population, allowing us to, or gain us some recruitable population back, which will allow us to gain more people as well. And more political power, which we are not doing well on political power right now. But I think this is a good time to go ahead and end this episode. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button. And as always, peace.